Hey guys, I'm Steve Whitehead, paramedic, educator, and author, and I'm sitting here with my partner, Dr. David Tan. He is an emergency physician, he is a medical director, he is an urban stunt hang glider. How you do that with those tall buildings around the loops, I will never understand. Dr. Tan, you're a braver man than I, and I've got a scenario that is near and dear to my heart. I want to talk about crummy CPR technique, okay? So we've got a scenario out here, and when I say this, I'm not trying to pick on firefighters. I'm not trying to pick on private ambulance service guys. We're just going to have them play their roles in this scenario, okay? So in this scenario, you arrive on scene, you're a paramedic, you walk into the living room, fire engine crew, they're all EMTs, they've been there for a minute or two, and they're just doing weak CPR. The guy on the BVM's got the head in a neutral position, so not a lot of air's going in. The guy doing chest compressions is doing them 60 times a minute. So you try to coach him, and you can tell you're making him mad. You know, like, we know how to do our jobs. And then let's add in another. Let's say this is the second time you've tried to address this with the same crew, and it seems like they're just continually doing bad CPR. What would you do?
You know, I wish I could say that this was kind of a far-fetched scenario, but it really isn't. I'm sure all of us have been in this situation. You're trying to coach them to do the right thing, but you don't want to offend them at the same time. I got to go back, Steve, to this whole idea that as medical professionals, our duty is to the patient. You got to put the patient above all else, above egos, above people's feelings. And if we know for a fact that crummy CPR is going to kill this otherwise salvageable patient, I don't want to be the one to say to the loved one, yeah, we could have saved your family member if we had the gumption to tell them to do it right. No, we have to step in and say, okay, I'm taking over CPR. Especially if you know you've worked with this crew before, they have problems. Give them another task, or call for additional units, call for your own people to come in and help you out. But you got to do something to advocate for that patient and to do the resuscitation correctly.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's worth pointing out, this isn't a small issue.
Not at all.
We're recognizing as time goes on, CPR first criteria is saving lives. It is improving our resuscitation rates. Doing those hard and fast compressions before that initial defibrillation could literally be life-saving. You know, We're not saying that colloquially. So It's important. I know from my standpoint, I'm a joker, you know? That's kind of how I communicate.
No, really?
Everybody knows that except for the people watching who think you actually hang glide through buildings. Knows that I'm a joker.
What I do.
So so joking is one way. I just had a partner who kept letting go of my tube after intubation, and I looked at him and I told him, I said, Scott, every time you let go of my tube, God kills a puppy. You know, I mean, that was my way of jokingly saying to him, quit letting go of my tube. So I know when I make those communications, I try to sort of take people off guard or take their ego out of it by joking. Because I'm a firefighter, I know competition is a big deal among us. So there's another way, is to say, I'm taking the next round of CPR and I'm going to make you look like a Sally, you know, when I step in and do them. You know, do that kind of like, let me show you how it's done. So get their ego moving in a positive direction.
Right. But not everyone has that skill to kind of, you know, manipulate a situation so that you can communicate in a way that doesn't make anyone mad. It's cool that you do, and if you have that skill, absolutely take advantage of it. But if you don't, it's got to be addressed so that there's not a third time. You know, every department has a training officer, certainly should have a medical director. You've got a company officer. Yeah. You've got to bring it to their attention and say, hey, this crew I have concerns about, they're literally killing people. We need to get them into better training.
And I'm wondering, can you also say, you know, let me be the one. Let me step in. Let me go by the station and show these guys what I, you know, have learned in my CPR training or something of that nature. Be proactive. It's not somebody else's problem. I want to be part of the solution as well. Mm-hmm. That is what we would do. More importantly, what would you do? Go down to that comment stream down below and let us know. Have you seen a lot of crummy CPR out there? I have seen a lot of crummy CPR. Do you agree with me? How do you deal with it without bruising people's ego? What would you do? I'm Steve Whitehead. He's Dr. David Tan. We appreciate you watching. Take care.